session. Just a little reminder to turn off your phones while we're in the meeting, and hopefully all of us up here have remembered that as well. And then it's good to see everyone. It's good to be back. I look forward to a productive session and working with all of you. Thanks for accommodating our new meeting time. And so we have our good Secretary Kim Lovett with us, and she will be getting us started on Zoom whenever she can. Are we on?
Yes, Madam Chairman, we are on.
Thank you very much. And so we will get started since we're on Zoom. So would you please call the roll?
Senator French.
Here.
Senator Hicks.
Here.
Senator Ide.
Here.
Senator Kolb.
Present.
Senator Larson.
Here.
Chairman, Madam, or Chairman Steinmetz.
That works. Thank you. Chairman Steinmetz works just fine. Thank you very much. And so just a friendly reminder to everyone, we have been getting reports that folks cannot hear us well on the Zoom. And so when you are voting, taking roll call, all of that, I know it takes a little more effort to turn on your microphone and speak into it, but we'll just take it a little slower. And when we vote, make sure to turn on your microphone and vote so that people can hear your vote out in the hinterland. So with that, our schedule for today is Senate File 13, Federal Land Use Plans Legal Actions Authorized will be the first bill for our consideration. And I don't know if there are any agencies here to speak on that, because this is basically our bill to authorize legal action should we choose to take it. And this is one of our interim bills with a $50 million appropriation. The basic premise is if the legislature finds that we want to enter into a lawsuit because of proper interpretation and administration of the National Environmental Policy Act, the Federal Land and Management Policy Act, the National Historic Preservation Act, the Endangered Species Act, the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, and other federal acts to provide standing for the legislature to prosecute an action for declaratory judgment to protect its interests and the interests of the public. So that's kind of the impetus of the bill. It amends an existing statute which gave the legislature the ability to do that. And it also talks about, we contemplate in federal acts, including federal purchases of land within the state. The legislature shall have standing and may establish a fund to prosecute actions for declaratory judgment. So that's basically the gist of the bill. And is there any, I guess, is there any agency that wants to speak on this bill? Seeing none, is there any public comment on the bill? Go ahead, Mr. Hamilton, come on down.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Ken Hamilton with the Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation, members of the committee. I'm going to be brief. I think this is a good bill. I think it's something that we in Wyoming definitely need. As one of the resource users of the state, our members, we find it, the playing field is often very unequal in this. And I think it would be very helpful if the state had an opportunity to weigh in on some of these important issues for our members. Other industry uses of federal lands on the in the public or on the public land. So we fully support this, appreciate it, be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Hamilton? Questions? Seeing none, you got off easy on the first bill of the session. Thank you. You were very brave. All right. Is there any further public comment? Further public comment? Seeing none, public comment is anything online, Kim? Let me just check with you there.
Yes, we have a Laura Peterson.
Oh, and she wants the first bill? All right. Let's let Laura in and we'll take her public comments. Laura, are you with us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Welcome to the Senate Ag Committee.
Thank you, members of the committee. My name is Laura Pearson. I am a resident of Southwest Wyoming. I am a sheep rancher and a public land user. I appreciate this bill and I would encourage a yes vote on this bill.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions for Laura? Questions for Laura? Seeing none, thank you very much. And I think you want to testify on a subsequent bill, so you're welcome to just stay with us online until that bill comes up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. With that, I will close public comment and back to the committee. Committee, what is your pleasure? Okay, the bill has been moved by Kolb, seconded by Ide, actually did first. He moved, and so I'm going to give him the second. And committee, are there any amendments on the bill? Amendments on the bill? We'll have discussion after we look at the amendments. Will that work, Senator Ide? All right, okay, go ahead, Senator Hicks.
Madam Chairman, I don't have an amendment ready at this point in time, but I think that we probably should have one drafted up. This bill will have to be re-referred to the Appropriations Committee. The way this is currently structured, it's an appropriation out of the general fund. And the way that's structured, it would create a new account and sit there. Typically on a scenario like this, the reason that we don't normally do that is because those have to maintain in liquid assets by the state of Wyoming. In other words, it's cash because you never know when you're going to have to draw on that. So it reduces our investment income. What I would say is what we probably would want to do would draw that up, that the legislature had borrowing authority against the LSRA up to $50 million. That would come out of that component that they maintain in liquid assets anyway. And it frees up those general funds for that higher rate of return in the investment pool. So that's just a suggestion. It would be nothing but a conceptual that we would have drawn up between now and when this is referred to the appropriations. They're likely to do that anyway.
Senator Hicks, I agree with you, and I had thought of that as well, but wondered if we wouldn't draw on their expertise to help us with that.
So, Madam Chairman, what I would just recommend, seeing how we don't have the amendment in front of us now, if the committee just wanted to take a position to authorize you to have that drawn up, that you could take to the Appropriations Committee. So it would be basically Appropriations Committee amendment if they were inclined to adopt it.
Okay. Is that a motion?
That's a motion, Madam
All
Chairman.
right, do I have a second? Second. Okay, it's been moved by Hicks, seconded by Kolb, or Larson, both, thirded by Larson. And so I think is there any discussion on the amendment? Discussion on the amendment, seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion has carried. All right, are there any further? I'll go to Senator Ide next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This could potentially be an amendment, but I don't want to complicate things. I just wanted to maybe discuss it and see
All
what the
right,
body
let's
thought
do
here.
that.
It would just add to it. So in section B, or on page 2, line 4, we have the legislature finds that the United States Constitution in Article 1, Section 8, and Article 4, Section 3, and I think it might be possible, or if you guys would agree, Section 4 could actually fits into this bill too, Section 4 of Article 4 fits into this well. Here's what it says in the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, and it's pretty short. And this has a little bit to do with what's going on the border down in Texas as well. It says the United States shall guarantee every state in the Union a Republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. So part of a Republican form of government is pretty important as far as all of these land issues go. You know, half of our state really isn't a Republican form of government with the federal land holdings and held in their jurisdiction and not ours. So I just wanted to bring that up. I mean, it would be adding that section 4 to Article 4 in this bill, but I don't know if it's necessary. I just wanted to discuss that and see if you guys thought that that would be something that would be appropriate to add to this.
All right, well, you would need to make a motion to see that. Would you like to make a motion, or would you like to leave it as
You know, I
is?
probably want to leave it like it is. If nobody thinks that it's critical to put that in there, I think the bill is fine, but I just wanted to bring it up for discussion. unless somebody
Thank you,
thought it
I
was
appreciate
important.
that, Senator Ide, and if you consider it, and you will have every opportunity to bring an amendment from the floor if you find that it would be necessary. So, I had one, if everyone is finished, I had one proposed amendment, just a small one, on page 2. And then, on line 11, being a co-equal branch of, I thought maybe we should insert the word state government there, because the intention was that we're co-equal with the executive branch in the state of Wyoming and our ability to file a lawsuit. I would make that motion.
I'll second.
Yes, go ahead.
Discussion?
Well, could we second it first?
Oh,
Second.
Okay, moved by me, seconded by Ide. Discussion, go ahead.
yeah, I think in the context of states and the federal government, it's not co-equal. The language would we want would be dual sovereignty. That's Supreme Court's ruled on those cases before. That would be the normal language that we would want to insert is rather than co-equal is dual sovereignty, because that's the history of states, prosecutions,
Okay,
and standing with the federal government. So that would be my suggestion if that was a favorable amendment.
okay. So how would you propose that be worded on line 11? And Kim, are you following this? All right, thank you.
Good.
Do you have an idea, Bob?
No, I guess we can discuss it later.
So,
Or I'm sorry,
Madam Chairman, if you were inclined to insert that on line 11, you would just substitute the word, say, rather than being a co-equal branch of government, you'd say having dual sovereignty.
Having to, okay, all right, so that is, go ahead, Senator Ide.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Hicks' comments, I'm not sure I like that language, just for the fact that, and you may be right, I'm not sure where that comes from, but I've always understood it as, you know, the U.S., the United States of America is sovereign to, as a whole, to foreign, you know, outside of a certain sphere, whereas the states are sovereign within their sphere. And I don't know as I agree with the dual sovereignty part of that language right there. And I think that you know, as foreign nations go, we're sovereign as a United States, but as the states go in their sphere, we're sovereign to the United States. So that's debatable, but that's the way I see it.
You know, rather than complicate the issue, I'm just gonna withdraw my amendment. We'll leave it as it is, as we passed it out of the interim, unless somebody else wants to make an amendment. All right. All right, are there any further amendments to this good bill? Further amendments? Seeing none. Kim, would you call the roll, please? And please turn on your microphone to vote on your roll call votes. Thank you.
Senator French,
Aye.
Senator Hicks,
Aye.
Senator Ide,
Aye.
Senator Kolb,
Aye.
Senator Larson,
Aye.
Chairman Steinmetz.
Aye.
6 ayes.
3 out of 6 isn't bad. With their microphones on. Good job. That motion has passed. Senate File 13 has passed. We, at the end of committee, please stick around. We'll have a short meeting and we'll decide who will carry this bill on the floor. The next bill for our consideration is Senate File 12, Meat Processing Plants, Hides, and Carcasses. And I believe Director True is here today to speak to us on this interim committee bill. Welcome, Director.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Committee. Madam Chair, Steve True, the Director of the Wyoming Livestock Board. I would just like to offer that I think we worked this bill pretty hard during the interim. Appreciate your interest of our comments, and we appreciate where the committee was, their stance on the bill. Just one little quick piece of info. Hides are typically figured as part of the drop credit value in the cattle market business. At one time in 2014, they reached a high in prices, and ever since then, with the advent of synthetic leather in manufacturing, hides have dropped to be a smaller part of that drop credit beneath tallow, variety meats, blood and bone meal, and those other items. So it's likely that that return of that market is, it's likely that it's unlikely, to mix my language a little bit there. So we are, we're willing to, or able to implement this bill as done. Just one note, just for the public, as well as we did during the committee, there was repeal of the statute for private slaughter and the inspections required with that. And just to note that if we run into any issues with that, that will just be investigated as a larceny case.
All right.
On the beginning now. So thank you, Madam Chair. I'd stand for any questions.
Thank you, Director. Are there any questions for the Director? Questions? Seeing none, well, thank you for being with us today. All right, is there any public comment on this bill? Public comment? Kim, do we have anyone online that wants to comment on this bill?
Yes, Miss Laura Pearson, and I'll bring her in.
Thank you. Laura, are you with us again? We're not able to hear you if you're there. Laura, are you there?
It appears her microphone's turned off.
Are you there now?
Yes, we have you now. Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead and state your name and your position on this bill. And we can't hear you again.
All right. Is
Oh,
that better?
You're breaking up, but go ahead. We can't hear you.
Oh, geez.
Now we
I'm
can.
probably in a place that has, oh,
Laura, can you just tell us, are you for or against the bill?
well, I'm
All
not
right, I'm
really
sorry, but we've,
sure whether I'm for or against the bill. I feel like this could be.
we're unable to hear you, Laura. We're going
hear
to
me
have
now?
to let you go. We're unable to get a clear signal from you. I'm sorry for that. If you'd like to send us an email, please do. We'd love to hear what you think about the bill. If it passes the committee, it will be heading to the floor. We apologize for the technical difficulties. All right, is there any further comment in the room or online? Seeing none.
How about
Seeing none.
now?
We'll have to
Can you
mute.
hear me now?
Can we mute Laura, please? All right, we're gonna have to go on. And she can send us an email if she is able to do that. All right. Public comment is officially closed. Back to the committee. Committee, what is your pleasure on the bill? Senator French has moved the bill. Do I have a second? Seconded by Larson. The bill has been moved and seconded. Are there any amendments? Any amendments? Seeing none, Kim, could you please call the roll, and could you please turn on your microphone to vote?
Senator French,
Aye.
Senator Hicks,
Aye.
Senator Ide,
Aye.
Senator Kolb, Senator Larson,
Aye.
Chairman Steinmetz.
Aye.
6 ayes do pass.
Thank you, Kim. All right, and we'll, at the end of the meeting, we will decide who will carry that on the floor. The next Senate file for our consideration is Senate File 14, State Fair Board Powers and Responsibilities. I believe the director is here and our director of the State Fair as well. Welcome up. Thank you for being with us today. We'll just bring you on up. And this is a bill that basically changes a few small things about how the board works. Since we put this in a few years ago, we've been making a few alterations as it evolves. And so we appreciate you being here with us to provide information today. Welcome to the Ag Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. I'm Courtney Conkle, and I serve as the General Manager of the Wyoming State Fair. This is a bill that has the support of the Wyoming State Fair Board. We believe that this is a step in the right direction for that continued autonomy for the State Fair to be able to operate efficiently while still having a high level of accountability to the state of Wyoming and our citizens.
Thank you. Any questions for Courtney? All right, seeing none, Director, welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. Doug Miyamoto with the Wyoming Department of Agriculture. As we discussed during the interim, the department shouldn't have any trouble being able to carry out the provisions as they're proposed in this legislation. Kind of removes me as a middleman, streamlines the process a little bit, and we think it'll work better administratively for us. Beyond that, one small change that I might offer would be in the list of board members, it includes me as an ex officio, and I would suggest that it might be better if it could be either me serving on that board or a designee. Would be consistent with other ex officio members of the State Fair Board. And then one other alternative that I would present to you is the start date for this legislation. During the interim, we had discussed this back and forth, and I think as it stands right now, this switch would take place after this upcoming 2024 fair, which would work fine, but for administrative purposes, I would suggest it would be cleaner to have that switch over at the normal time when bills take effect on July 1st.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, any questions for Director Miyamoto? Go ahead, Senator Gold.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Just a question about the Attorney General reviewing the contracts. Does anyone foresee any issue with that? Was that the way it was before? I forgot to ask this question during the interim. So if you could, I guess, explain what your thoughts are, if there was going to be potentially any issue with time with the Attorney General reviewing contracts.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman.
Go ahead.
Senator, typically the way the Department of Agriculture does that currently is the Attorney General's office already reviews all of the contracts, but they do so looking for consistency in form only, not with content of the contract. And in this way, you know, they would have slightly expanded responsibility to make sure that the amounts match. Other than that, I don't think it'll add additional burden of time for review.
All right. Any further questions? Seeing none, you got off pretty easy today. It's nice to start with the easy bills. All right. So we will now go to public comment. Is there any public comments on this bill? Any public comment in the room? Seeing none, do we have anyone online, Kim?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay. Seeing no further public comment is closed. Committee, what is your pleasure? Moved by Kolb, seconded by French. Are there any amendments to the bill? Go ahead, Senator French.
Madam Chair, I don't know exactly where it would be in which lines the director's suggestion of stating director or a designated person. And two, after the 2024 fair, I don't know which lines where that would go, but that would be the amendment.
All right, that has been moved by French. Do I have a second? Seconded by Larson. And I can help you with that amendment a little bit. I think we want July 1st to be the date, and that would go on page 3 at the end of the bill. And then the State Fair Board membership is found, and I gave Kim the statute earlier in 1110-115 where the Fair Board membership is, and under X, the Romanet X, the director shall, or his designee shall serve as a voting member. I think that's where we want to make that amendment, and it might require us to bring in that other part of the statute. Is that what you're looking at too, Dan? Okay. Am I right?
Yes.
On that? Okay, thank you for that. All right, so is there any further discussion on that amendment? Kim, do you have that in that statutory language I gave you?
Yes, I do.
All right. All right, so is everyone clear what the amendment is? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? And I won't make you turn on your microphones to do your, just when you do roll call, so. All right. Any further discussion on this bill? Seeing none, Kim, would you please call the roll?
Senator French,
Aye.
Senator Hicks,
Excused?
Senator Ide,
Aye.
Senator Kolb,
Aye.
Senator Larson,
Aye.
Chairman Steinmetz.
Aye. And we will hold the vote open for Senator Hicks as he's just standing out in the hallway. So that concludes our meeting for today. It was short and sweet with these fairly non-complicated bills today. So thank you for being with us. Kim, do you have anything further for us before we would adjourn?
Not at this time, Madam Chairman.
Okay, anything else from the committee? Seeing none, we are adjourned. We will reconvene Thursday at 8 a.m.